New updates on a missing girl found in OKC. President Biden announces another military aid package for Ukraine. And survivors of the Larry Nassar trial file claims against the FBI. This is OU Nightly. Good afternoon. Thanks for joining us for OU Nightly. I'm Audrey Goodson.
And I'm Kaleigh Tingelstad. We begin with new information about what police say is a ring of sex traffickers who kidnapped a North Texas teenager and brought her to Oklahoma City. OU Nightly's Zaria Oates is following this story. Zaria, what can you tell us?
Yes, Audrey, Kaleigh, tonight we know that there are 5 more people who have been arrested in connection with Kramer's disappearance. Here's what we know about who Oklahoma has behind bars. 2 men and 6 women are now facing charges as suspects in the sex trafficking case. Kramer disappeared from a Dallas Mavericks game in Dallas on April 8th. Surveillance video from the basketball game showed that she never returned to her seat after leaving to use the bathroom. She was then shown leaving the arena with an unidentified man. An arrest affidavit states that an online ad featuring the victim in prostitution has made its way to websites, and an innocent Oklahoma man's identity was also stolen, both tipping police off to where Kramer may have been, all leading to Oklahoma City Police Department finding Kramer in an Oklahoma City motel. We'll keep you updated with everything that we have as we receive information. Reporting live from Oklahoma City, Zaria Oates, OU Nightly.
Thanks, Zaria. And an update on the Ukraine crisis. Soldiers are in desperate need for extra supplies and aid. CNN's Isabel Rosales has Biden's plans for helping out.
New satellite images show apparent mass graves outside the besieged city of Mariupol. The city is ground zero. The Azovstal steel plant stands as Mariupol's last line of defense. Russian President Vladimir Putin has scrapped plans to storm the plant, ordering soldiers to instead encircle it.
There will be nobody left in this area. There will be dead, all the children. I'm not talking about the soldiers, but the civilians will be eliminated.
Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky warns his troops do not have enough serious and heavy weapons to defeat the Russians there. The U.S. is responding. President Biden unveiling his latest presidential drawdown. Any more money would need congressional approval.
And we're in a critical window now of time where they're going to set the stage for the next phase of this war.
The Defense Department now set to pull weapons and equipment like howitzers, ammo, and drones from U.S. inventories to send to Ukraine.
Putin has failed to achieve his grand ambitions on the battlefield. After weeks of shelling Kyiv, Kyiv still stands.
In a move to further isolate Moscow, Russian-affiliated ships now banned from American ports. In Mariupol, the help can't come soon enough. Ukrainian soldiers remaining defiant, resisting Russian attacks, and ignoring their calls to surrender. In Washington, Isabel Rosales.
Biden states this is the most important time to act in service of Ukraine.
Victims of the Larry Nassar case are now filing claims against the FBI seeking millions of dollars. Jayden Brannon has that story and the rest of today's headlines from around the world.
Thanks, Kaleigh. 13 women are filing claims against the FBI after they were victimized by former USA gymnastics doctor Larry Nassar. They're asking for $130 million after they say investigators turned a blind eye to the sexual abuse allegations against the doctor. It was reported that senior FBI officials failed to respond to their allegations and multiple errors were made when they did. And Russia has released video testing a new missile as they continue moving forward the war in Ukraine. The weapon was launched yesterday from northern Russia to another test site in the eastern part of the country. It's designed to replace a model from the Soviet Union era. Russia claims the new design can carry multiple nuclear warheads and can travel more than 6,800 miles. A senior U.S. defense official says the launch was irresponsible. And the Florida State House is expecting to pass a bill today that will end Disney's operational autonomy in its Orlando area theme parks. The bill comes after Disney's CEO criticized Florida lawmakers for prohibiting schools from discussing sexual orientation and gender identity. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis says he supports the bill, which has already gone through the Senate. Florida Democrats say they are worried about economic blowback. The second bill related to Disney is expected to pass later today, removing the company's exemption to an anti-censorship law. And rapper A$AP Rocky has been released on bail after his arrest for a Hollywood shooting that happened on November 6th. Audrey, Kaleigh, back to you.
Thanks, Jayden. And back here in Norman, a big weekend is still in store. Baker Mayfield will be back on campus for the dedication of his statue in Heisman Park. It's all part of the spring game that kicks off Saturday at 3 p.m. OU Nightly's Shannon Ehrhardt is live with a look at where you can see the statue.
If you haven't heard of Heisman Park, you guys will be hearing a lot about it in the next 48 hours. And that's because right behind me, Baker Mayfield will be standing tall and strong. In 2017, the former OU quarterback won the Heisman, and he became the #1 overall pick in 2018 for the Cleveland Browns. Mayfield's Heisman statue is finally taking its place after a 2-year hiatus because of COVID. Now he comes back to Norman for the first time with everybody there, and emotions are running high, as he said on Wednesday afternoon's Sports Talk 1400 that he's going to let emotions fly and wear them on his sleeve. The QB1 said that he knows the statue's pose, but he hasn't seen the final product yet, and I haven't either. But you guys, tomorrow at 5, we all will, as the statue will be revealed. I'll have updates on that tomorrow and a story you won't want to miss. Reporting live from Heisman Park, Shannon Ehrhardt, OU Nightly.
Thanks, Shannon. A lot of people are wondering whether this weather will cooperate for the spring game.
Jenna Warner is here to tell us how long this warm trend will stick around. Jenna?
Well, we'll get to our spring game forecast in a bit, but for now, if you've stepped outside today, it is super muggy. It feels so soupy out there. Right now in Norman, it is 82 degrees. We are in the 90s out in western Oklahoma, and it is pretty dry out in western Oklahoma as well, as they are experiencing some fire weather in the Panhandle. Coming up later, we're going to be talking more about fire weather chances, storm potential for the next few days, and of course, your spring game forecast. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thanks, Jenna. Many students in the President's Leadership class at OU are volunteering to hand out food to the runners at the Oklahoma City Memorial Marathon on Sunday. The volunteers will hand out water bottles to the runners as they go through their 26.2-mile journey. They also made hundreds of sandwiches and other items for runners crossing the finish line.
And we're getting people signed up so we can just all go volunteer and be plugged in with our community in Oklahoma City and just be able to work with other PLC classes.
The marathon will begin at the Oklahoma City Memorial Sunday at 6:30 a.m.
And there's a weekend of fun for everyone, not just the runners. On Saturday, tours of the Oklahoma City National Memorial Museum are free. And in the evening, there's a concert by the Josh Abbott Band at 6 o'clock in Scissortail Park.
You know, we've tried to make it where it's a more weekend filled with fun and some events, because families and runners come from all across the United States. So we've tried to increase the amount of things that families can do.
And that's not all. Fireworks will take place at 10:30 on Saturday night.
Profits from medical marijuana sales taxes are being donated to create a program in Oklahoma.
Find out how this program can help kids in Oklahoma struggling with mental health, coming up.
Plus, if you plan on hopping on a flight anytime soon, you might notice something different at the airport.
What's no longer required for travelers, straight ahead on OU Nightly.
Marijuana use is legal in Oklahoma if you have a medical card to buy it. Now profits from medical marijuana sales taxes will be used for a grant to the Oklahoma Office of Juvenile Affairs. OU Nightly's Ben Thomas has that story.
Thousands of Oklahoma kids are struggling, many due to substance abuse. And now the Oklahoma Medical Marijuana Authority is stepping in with the big bucks to address the problem.
The Office of Juvenile Affairs is going to use that $2 million to stand up Functional Family Therapy, or FFT.
The Functional Family Therapy program is currently in 45 states in 12 countries, and Oklahoma will now be able to use the program to help treat kids who are showing disorderly conduct and delinquency issues that coexist with substance abuse while working with their families.
And so functional family therapy works with the family in the family home or also in an office setting, is evidence-based, has shown great results for recidivism, has shown great results in treating families and kids in their community.
The help from the Oklahoma Medical Marijuana Authority is crucial for the state of Oklahoma, as the Office of Juvenile Affairs sees this as a huge opportunity.
Without this funding by OMMA, this would not have come to Oklahoma. This $2 million is game-changing for the state of Oklahoma.
Ben Thomas, OU Nightly.
A 3-year training period will take place, but families needing the help will be able to participate during the training within the coming months.
A popular breakfast cereal may be facing concerns from the FDA. Ashley Velde has that story and more in Health Beat.
We start with the confusion over masks now that a federal judge overturned the rules for transportation. Some cities and public transportation systems are choosing to keep mandatory masking, but most major airports and airlines ditch the requirement. Research from the University of California says the level of protection of one-way masking depends on the type of mask you wear. The Food and Drug Administration is recalling zucchini at Walmarts in 18 states, including Oklahoma, due to salmonella concerns. World Variety Produce recalled a case lot of its organic zucchini. The FDA says no illnesses have been reported. The 2-count pack of zucchini sold under the brand Organic Market Side should not be eaten, but destroyed or disposed. And the FDA is also investigating Lucky Charms cereal after reports of sickness. The move comes after a popular online poison website reported that more than 1,300 people said they had gastrointestinal issues after eating Lucky Charms. Cereal maker General Mills says it has not found evidence of people getting sick. The FDA says it received only a few complaints but has started new inspections. A recall has not been issued at this time. And the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention issued a health advisory today asking physicians to be on the lookout for unusual cases of severe hepatitis in children. Audrey and Kaleigh, back to you.
Thanks, Ashley. The Sam Noble Museum in Norman will be expanding one of its collections. Find out more on their plan coming up.
Plus, it's been a while since we've seen April showers. Jenna, can we be expecting some anytime soon?
Well, there are certainly some in the forecast. We'll be talking about when and where coming up next. Stay tuned. Welcome back to OU Nightly. Taking a look at our skyline cam, it sure is a beautiful day out there, but for allergy sufferers, things are a bit risky right now. We'll talk about that in a second. Right now, we're sitting at 82 degrees in Norman and Oklahoma City with partly cloudy skies. Winds are a bit blustery coming out of the east-southeast at 23 miles per hour. Now, talking about fire risk, it is isolated to the Panhandle today, Texas and Oklahoma panhandles, and that is an issue when we're talking about the drought monitor. So the drought monitor just came out today. It's Thursday. They always come out every Thursday. Looking at the Panhandle, we are in an exceptional drought out near Guyman, and that is a bad story when we're talking about fire weather risks, as there's a lot of dry vegetation out there to serve as a bunch of fuel for fires if they so spark. Talking about that allergy report, if you do suffer from seasonal allergies, today you may want to stay inside if you can. We do have a lot of grass pollen and tree pollen out there that will spark up some sniffles. It may not be fun to be outside. Now, we do also have a severe risk today. It is isolated to northwestern Oklahoma near Woodward and Enid. It is conditional if storms do pop on the dry line. If they do, there will be hail, damaging winds, and possibly a tornado. Talking about lows tonight, we will be in the 60s. And then looking at our highs for tomorrow, we're going to be in the 80s across the state, hitting the 90s out in western Oklahoma. Overall, it'll be a great Friday for you guys. Looking ahead for your 2-day forecast, we have a great Friday in store. Definitely get out there after work, maybe take a walk around Scissortail Park. And then looking for Saturday, we have your OU spring game. So we will have a full forecast of that coming up later, but talking about your 7-day, we do have rain chances for this weekend, so get in all of your outdoor time while you can Friday. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thanks, Jenna. The Sam Noble Museum of Natural History received a $345,000 federal grant for their Native American languages collection. A push for the digitalization of the collection started in 2002, and this grant is finally making it possible. The material will be made publicly available for browsing and downloading free of charge.
This is intellectual property of Indigenous peoples. Not only are we, doing digital repatriation by giving copies back, but we are also trying just to make it more accessible to people.
The online Native American language collection should be fully operational in the next 3 years.
Kaleigh, it looks like it's going to be a huge weekend for sports here in Oklahoma.
Liv Walbeck is here to tell us about the excitement at Owen Field. Liv?
That's right, it's football time in Oklahoma, and the NBA playoffs are in full swing. Sports is next. Welcome back to OU Nightly. My name is Liv Walbeck, and it's time for sports. I know we're all missing football season, but look no further because spring game is this weekend. This Saturday, the Sooners will face off against each other for a quick preview of how this upcoming season will look. The Sooners are ranked 14th on ESPN's way too early top 25 poll, a far stretch from their number 2 ranking at the start of last season. The OU softball team dominated North Texas last night 10-0. The ladies had 13 hits and 4 home runs, while pitching staff Jordy Ball and Hope Troutwine gave up only 1 hit. The game was OU's 32nd run rule victory of the season and 23rd shutout. Their next game is tomorrow against Iowa State at 6 p.m. at home. The Big 12 tennis championships begin this weekend down in Fort Worth. Seated at number 1, the OU women's team is set to take on Kansas State tomorrow at noon. Should the ladies advance, they'll take on the winner between number 4 Baylor and number 5 Kansas on Saturday at noon in the semifinals. The OU baseball team heads up to Lawrence, Kansas this weekend to take on the Jayhawks in a Big 12 matchup. After closing out last weekend with a win over the University of Pacific, the Sooners took down Wichita State. These 2 wins give the team the momentum they need as they head up to Kansas. First pitch is at 6 p.m. And with the NBA playoffs in full swing, the 16 teams have begun their battle for the championship. Last night, the 76ers beat the Raptors 104-101, with Joel Embiid sinking the game-winning shot. The Bulls took down the Bucks 114-110, and the Celtics beat KD and the Nets 114-107. Moving on to tonight's matchup, the Grizzlies will take on the Timberwolves at 6:30, the Mavs face the Jazz at 8, and the Warriors play against the Nuggets at 9 p.m. And Villanova men's basketball coach Jay Wright announced his retirement Wednesday night. After 35 years of coaching and 21 years at Villanova, Wright led the Wildcats to 4 Final Fours and 2 national championships. Expected to fill Wright's seat is the Fordham coach Kyle Neptune, who spent 8 years under Wright as an assistant coach. And the lawsuit against Dallas Cowboys owner Jerry Jones has been dropped. Alexandra Davis originally filed the suit, claiming Jones paid child support in exchange for her silence on him being her biological father. Davis decided that she would like to proceed with DNA testing rather than pressing charges. And be sure to stay tuned during halftime at the spring game this weekend for the unveiling of Baker Mayfield's Heisman statue.
Thanks, Liv. Queen Elizabeth is getting a special tribute for her 96th birthday.
Find out what surprises are in store for the Queen straight ahead on OU Nightly.
I'm Milena Semere at the OU Nightly Update Desk. Honduras extradited former President Juan Orlando Hernandez to the U.S. today to face drug trafficking and weapons charges. Just 3 months after leaving office, Hernandez boarded a plane handcuffed with agents from the U.S. Drug Enforcement Administration bound for the United States. He will face charges in the Southern District of New York. Back to you in the studio.
Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth is getting a Barbie doll in honor of her 96th birthday.
And Barbie really paid attention to the detail. The doll's tiara is based on the one the real Queen wore on the day she married Prince Philip.
The Queen's doll goes on sale in major retail stores Thursday, and it's going to cost you $75.
And Liv has me all excited about heading to the spring game this weekend, but Jenna, will there be any weather that changes any of my plans?
Well, unfortunately, it is a possibility. You might want to pack the rain poncho when you're heading out for OU's spring game, which starts at 3 p.m. We are expecting to see showers and storms start to form this in the afternoon, moving on into the evening. Now, the chances are also conditional, so there may be storms, but there also may not be storms. It's a good idea to stay weather aware when you head to the game Saturday. Taking another look at the 7-day forecast, we are talking about the rain chances this weekend. I do want to reiterate, you'll want to get those outdoor plans in on Friday, and then we got a cool down coming in next week. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Jenna, and thank you for joining us for OU Nightly, live from Gaylord College on the campus from the University of Oklahoma.
We will see you at the same time, same place tomorrow. Good night.